I left school at 16 because the nuns wouldn't give me books about Buddhism. So I studied that. I studied classical Arabic. Art was always my thing. Then I turned on to cannabis when I was 16. LSD when I was 22. And then when I was 23, I had a life change, in as much as a trauma and then a love affair. And the love affair came with the added advantage of immensely important new knowledge. And it was knowledge which enabled me to practice how to live at that level of consciousness that I had always aspired to.
A full drop?
I do normally a full drop. The tragedy of Prohibition was that people stopped talking about LSD. I felt this is just a mistake society's making. And so I thought, we have to first change drug policy and get it based on scientific evidence, because without that, one's not going to be allowed to do the research. I'll do it through the best science. So that was my intention at the beginning of the 70s. My thing is to put it on my hand and lick it. But if you prefer to put it on a bit of paper, you can divide it in two.
I see. That's an interesting technique.
The research that we're now doing is showing amazingly how a psychedelic, in this case LSD, increases the connectivity, increases the function, etc. It does help one thing. If you don't feel it, let me know.
Okay.
How do these things change our very basic consciousness?
People have attempted to understand and study consciousness through art, through writing novels, through music, through philosophy, through all sorts of different processes. Why use science as a way of studying consciousness?
Well, my natural way would be the other ways. I mean, altered states of consciousness, extraordinary experiences, are very fascinating to study, but they're very difficult to study. I mean, I know telepathy exists because I had this passionate love affair with a pigeon who I brought up from a baby. And he fixated and fell madly in love with me, and I with him. That was the beginning of one of the most meaningful relationships in my life. He had two main emotions, which was passionate love and hateful jealousy. He hastened my partner out of the room every day and then came back and settled the conquest in the bed. And his whole thing was getting me to passionately cuddle him. And he was hypnotic. You know, he had a call which you actually couldn't resist. And this would go on and rising. And then finally you find yourself unable not to go and have a cuddle for half an hour. Very hot air. And she kissed my pupils. Incredibly delicate little tiny kisses. Love-making, sweet. I mean, it's just enchanting how he'd do it with the sound. It was a very kind of complete love. And he'd always be somewhere and swooping off. It's a great bird, adrenaline. And he could never make out why I didn't go with him. Pathetic cripple, human cripple who couldn't fly. My life would have been very different without Birdie, because I would have done all sorts of things like marry Bart. I never did, because Birdie wouldn't have liked me moving to Holland. Because one couldn't take Birdie to Holland, then he could never go out.